is if we can't buy something 10 times in cash, then we just don't buy it. Guys, please do not go broke trying to look rich. Plus, you need to understand that most people are so self-absorbed and so self-conscious as to the way that they look or the way that they come across that they don't have any time to care about what shoes you have or what car you drive or what watch you have. You know, and maybe this comes from me living in Chelsea and London. You know, living in London and then especially in Chelsea, you know, it's very European, and I think the European way is a lot more under the radar. To be honest, London is a very wealthy city, and London, compared to, say, for example, a city like LA, in LA, for the most part, everyone looks more rich than they actually are, whereas in London, for the most part, everyone is a lot more richer than they look. You know, to give you an example, I might be at a restaurant with my Patek Philippe Nautilus, you know, my 5711, or I might be there with my rose gold Royal Oak, and you know, I might be thinking I'm the shit. I've got, you know, $50,000 to $70,000 on my wrist, and then there's gonna be someone on another table who's got a Nautilus that looks exactly like mine, except his is the 40th anniversary Nautilus, his is white gold, and his is around 300,000 market value. Mine's only around 70,000. But to a person who doesn't know about watches, you would never be able to tell the difference. So I think for me, maybe it's just the fact that like, that in London, you're never gonna win the who has a bigger dick game, because whatever watch you have, someone will have a more expensive one. In Chelsea and London, if your car costs 300,000, get in line. You know, that's pretty common. And if your car costs 500,000, then you just know that there's gonna be someone who pulls up to the restaurant in an original Mercedes SLS Gullwing, and that car costs, you know, 1.5, 2 million. So once you realize that there's no point in trying to play that game, because the game is rigged, because you'll never win. You know, no matter how much money you make, probably you're not gonna win that game. And even if you do, who cares? So, you know, when it comes to just dress the way that you want to dress, I don't really wear any designer. You know, I do like to get some of my pieces from Loro Piana or Zegna or Sandro, the Couples. Those are some of my favorite spots. But a lot of my stuff I get from Uniqlo, and I just get tailored. Or Zara, I get a lot of jeans and trousers from Zara. Rag and Bone is one of my favorite. So on any given day, I might be wearing a $1,500 turtleneck or a $15 turtleneck. It doesn't really matter. That's also the beautiful thing about when you don't really wear any brands. You know, you don't wear your Gucci's, your Balenciagas, your anything like that. Because there's no label, it genuinely could be super expensive or super cheap. And the way that you dress it up, you know, you're kind of flying under the radar. And I just think it's better that way. And once again, when it comes to accessories and this and that, for example, watches, I'm super into horology. Just buy whatever it is that you want. You know, I have a very, very big watch collection worth $300,000-$400,000, but those are investments to me. I've actually made money on my watch collection. And when it comes to, say, something like a car, in London, rather than buying a 458, I want to get a Renault Twizy. You know, on that car, the doors are actually optional. So the reason I'm saying all this stuff is it brings it back to the point of like, if you can't buy it 10 times in cash, then you just can't afford it. If you can't buy that watch you want to buy 10 times over in cash, you can't afford it. If you can't buy that car 10 times over in cash, you cannot afford it. And you need to understand that. And I think truly rich people who are going to stay rich do understand that and don't get sucked into the game of who has a bigger dick and showing off and this and that. For rich people, if they can afford it 10 times over and they're actually into cars, then they buy cars. If they're into watches, they buy watches. Whatever it is that actually makes them happy, but they do it for themselves. And they don't do it in a way that screams to the entire world. So guys, please remember that if you can't buy it 10 times over in cash, you can't afford it. The next thing that rich people do that poor people don't is rich people observe, learn, and move in silence most of the time. Poor people think they know it all and they want to scream their opinion at the top of their lungs. You know, I've noticed this to be huge, especially rich people. Like they move in silence. Now that doesn't mean they're private. For example, I'm not private because I literally have a YouTube channel all about sharing what's working for me in my life financially, at the agency, at my clothing line, in terms of giving you updates on Nepal, like just, you know, I'm a totally open book, but I've just found that rich people, that doesn't mean that they're secretive or they're private or they'll hide everything. It just means that they spend more time doing it rather than talking about it. Look, we all know that one person who puts on Instagram big things coming, but they never actually do it. We all know those people who get more validation and more fulfillment from posting about doing it and living sort of this fake lifestyle than actually just doing it. And if they ever post about something, they're not posting about, it's not them showing off, it's just their life because they work to get there. You know, as I said, I chuckle a lot when people are like, watch this space, big things coming. As I said, you know, if someone asks you a relevant question about what's going on in your life or is intrigued, you don't need to be private or secretive. It just means that spend much, much more time doing the thing rather than talking about doing the thing. Aside from that, rich people aren't usually married to their opinions. They can change because they're constantly learning, they're getting different perspectives, they're getting opposing perspectives, and as I said, they're willing to change their opinion if need be. Poor people, from what I've noticed, are kind of just a bull in a china shop. They want to shove their opinion down your throat and they think they're right all the time. Now, please keep in mind that this is 100% a generalization, and when I'm talking about rich people, I'm talking about self-made rich people. You know, this definitely doesn't apply as much to people who come from money. Coming from someone who is new money but surrounded by a lot of old money, I can tell you that old money are, just to be very honest, most of the time insufferable. Sometimes they're the most stuck in their ways and the most formally educated but so uneducated about what's going on in the world. So please keep that in mind, that a lot of the stuff in here are generalizations. So that was point number 3. Rich people observe, learn, and move in silence. Point number 4 that rich people do that poor people don't is that we realize what we do outside of our career is just as important as what we do inside of it. This is huge. Honestly, this is so important. You see, poor people will think that, you know, what does getting good sleep and having good nutrition, meditating and learning about philosophy and character, like what does all this stuff have to do with making money or being rich? But rich people understand that that's 70% of the equation. You need to understand that tactics aren't too hard to figure out. You know, most tactics aren't really a secret. Why can two people both have these step-by-step training, both know the same tactics, yet they get vastly different results? It's because of everything they do outside of the business or the career or whatever financial vehicle they're in. They understand that, going back to the first point, they're paid on results, not time. And in order to get better results, they need more energy. You need to understand that energy is the most valuable currency on earth. Or maybe not the most valuable currency on earth, but to yourself, it should be your most valuable currency. In my opinion, more so than time and more so than physical money. And you directly control how much energy you have by the quality of your sleep, what you let into your body and what you let into your mind. You see, rich people, or at least people who are truly rich, and I mean that in bank account, in spirit, in mind, in body, they understand that the way you do one thing is the way that you do everything. So they don't look at someone talking about the importance of sleep or nutrition or self-perception and self-identity and go, what the hell does that have to do with making money? They understand that the two are directly correlated. And that concludes my 4 points. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments section if there's anything else that you would add that rich people do that poor people don't. And by the way, at the beginning, I think I mixed up a couple times the order of that, but in your belief, what are some things that rich people do that poor people don't that get them to that point? Now, moving on to the gadget giveaway, down in the description, you will find the winner for last video's gadget giveaway. If you want to be drawn into winning an article of clothing from my boutique line, Gadget, and my team will go ahead and send it out to you free of charge. All you have to do is make sure you're subscribed, turn on post notifications, and comment within the first 2 hours of next video going live. Or if you're here within the first 2 hours of this video going live, just leave a comment and you'll be drawn in to win. And all you have to do is just watch next video to see if you've won. As I said, I'm gonna go ahead and leave last video's winner down in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I look forward to looking at all your comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.